Hey everyone, how's it going? Aaron Rift here from NoDQ.com. Welcome to a special late Monday night edition of NoDQ Live. This will be on demand on YouTube.com/Aaron Rift NoDQ. I will wait a few minutes before going on to talk about some of the events of Raw. Let people join the chat room. Hey, Steve Carrier is here in the chat. The Facebook chat for NoDQ Live. I just got back. Oh, Gilberto just joined. We already have a party and this thing just got started. So I got back from the Staples Center, Monday Night Raw. I had a great time. Oh, Jenny Jones is here. Thank you, Jenny, for coming to the meetup. Gilberto was there. Had a few other people there. Lots of fun before Raw. I think that this week's Raw was a fun show. I had a great time, but I would say the Portland show 2 weeks ago was overall a better quality show. And I think when it's all said and done, people will remember not what happened on Raw this week, but what happened after Raw. What happened after Raw was one of the most surreal things I have ever seen at a WWE event. Probably the weirdest post-Raw segment or any WWE segment I have ever seen in person. Let's go ahead and start at the beginning. We had the main event matches. There was a cruiserweight tag team match. Not much noteworthy to talk about. But then all of a sudden, The Rock came out. Now, it was rumored throughout the day that The Rock was going to possibly be on Raw. He talked about on Instagram that he was going to be shooting scenes for the upcoming Paige film at Raw. He came out about 5 minutes before Raw went on the air, made sure to mention to the live crowd that they would be filming stuff after Raw. And then he went into his Attitude Era routine where he started mocking the catchphrases. He did Hogan's phrase, he did Austin's phrase, he did Savage's phrase. And then he finished it off with his phrase, "If you smell what The Rock is cooking," the most electrifying catchphrase in all of sports entertainment. And then Vince McMahon's music hit. This was the first surreal moment of the night. Vince coming out, and I believe he said, "You're fired," as the most electrifying catchphrase, and then just pointed The Rock off the stage, and The Rock left, and that was the segment. Really weird to see Vince there. Michael Nagel is here. You done messed up, Aaron. How did I mess up? What did I say? But yeah, that was a really weird way to start off Monday Night Raw. Now, my thoughts on the show, as I said, I thought it was a good Raw, but I felt the Portland show was a little bit better. I had great seats, and many of you saw the signs that I had on Raw. A lot of references to the NoDQForums.com members. Oh, Derek says you messed up because you're not talking about TNA. Well, I will talk about TNA in a way. There was a delete Roman sign. I'm not sure if you guys saw it on television. I think it was pretty clear. There was a delete Roman sign, and it led to the fans chanting delete, delete, delete. And at that point, security came over and confiscated the sign, and that was the end of that. You messed up by not talking about beating up Rusev. What happened with Rusev? I'm already forgetting what happened with Rusev. I'm trying to remember some of the highlights of Raw. I mean, I know the opening promo, Kevin Owens with the lights turned down, talking about Goldberg. I thought it was a good promo, and I like how the Jericho thing was brought up where Owens just said nothing. He said, "And on the topic of Chris Jericho," and then he walked away, and that was it. So I like that he's just basically throwing Jericho to the side and acting like Jericho's not relevant. I thought that was well done. Then you had the Brock Lesnar promo, the Brock Lesnar, Paul Heyman interview with Michael Cole. I also thought that was well done. I liked the camera angle where they were showing Brock, and then they had Paul Heyman talking in the background. I like how that was done and set up, and I enjoyed the segment. I think it was well done to build up Fastlane, even though it does seem pretty obvious that Goldberg's going to win the title. I'm still not convinced that Owens has any chance in hell of retaining the title at Fastlane. Got 44 people listening. Craig Jones, did you mark out for AJ? I'll get to AJ in a minute here. I will be talking about that. New Day got a huge pop. Trying to think who else got a really big reaction. I mean, the crowd loved Enzo and Cass, but then when Sheamus, of all people, beat up Enzo, the crowd started chanting, "Thank you, Sheamus." So that was something out of left field that I wasn't expecting. That was quite interesting. This was a weird crowd. I mean, at least in my section, it was a very smart fan crowd. They were booing Roman heavily, and they were doing the Ty Dillinger 10, and I was just yelling out like random numbers just to throw them off because I was getting annoyed by it. Gilberto sucks, New Day. Oh, I'm not going to finish that sentence. Is Shaq's sister Abigail? I mean, I was a little disappointed. I think that this would have been the right time to have Shaq appear on Raw and set up the WrestleMania match with Big Show. I mean, LA is Shaq country. That would have been the place to have him show up. Not sure what I think about the main event being Big Show and Braun Strowman. That was the final match of the show. And the crowd at first was very much against the idea of this match. There were a lot of negative chants towards Big Show, please retire, and that sort of thing. But when they started teasing big spots, when they went up on the top rope and were teasing the superplex, the crowd started to get into the match. Where were the Big Show's abs tonight? I mean, he still looked very thin, but Braun Strowman looks like a beast. Braun Strowman looked like a monster. And I mean, Big Show looked in pretty good shape. Michael says, was Bayley getting booed in her promo? She got some boos. That's the other thing about the LA crowd. I sensed that they were the type of fans that did not want to cheer for something that was uncool or unhip. They did boo Gallagher a bit. I was a little bit surprised by that when they did the contract signing for Neville and Gallagher. The crowd was booing him a little bit, but then when he made the tea and crumpets line, the crowd started to cheer him. Why didn't The Rock call Benoit? Again, I'll get to The Rock in a minute here. So we had the segment with Bayley coming out and Stephanie, and basically what happened was Stephanie said Bayley should drop the title because Bayley had outside help with Sasha interfering, and Bayley should win the title clean. But Bayley basically said, hell no, she's not going to relinquish the title. And then a lot of the fans in the area where I was sitting, they thought that Sasha was going to turn on Bayley. But as it turns out, Charlotte came out, said she's going to get her title back at the Fastlane pay-per-view, and we'll see what happens. Charlotte has that streak. Will she get the title back? That remains to be seen. I am going to talk about The Rock here, Tommy. Just 1 second. Mike says it sounded like Bayley got booed heavily on TV. She definitely got some boos. I mean, maybe it's that deal where when somebody's no longer an underdog and they get to the top, the fans turn on them. But again, I sensed being there live that the fans were the type of fans that did not want to cheer for something that was not cool. A lot of the adult male fans. There were some Roman Reigns fans, though. There were some Roman fans, but it was still a very heavily anti-Roman crowd. You know, they were doing the 10 chants and whatnot. So is there anything else I missed from Raw? Anything you guys wanted me to discuss? Go ahead and leave a comment. I'm still forgetting some of the segments from Raw. Again, I think that people will remember what happened after Raw more than what happened on Raw. I feel like the big story was The Rock. After Raw, we had The Rock coming out, and let me real quick, Tony. Do you think that it was smart to have Bayley win by DQ? Would you think it's smart for Bayley to win by DQ at Fastlane? Well, actually, if they were going to do some sort of screw job finish at Fastlane, I would think that Charlotte would win by DQ or something like that, so her streak stays intact, but she doesn't win the title. But we'll get to predictions for Fastlane later. Jose, so you would say this crowd was different than other times. It was just a very smart crowd, but I mean, that's LA. LA typically has more of a smart crowd. Oh, Mike says, did Joe get a big pop when he killed Zayn? Definitely. There was a huge PWG chant. I'm not sure if it got on TV or not, but a lot of the fans in my area were chanting PWG. A little disappointing that we didn't get to see a full-fledged Owens and Zayn match. Basically, it was just Joe taking out Zayn, and then Owens picked up the pieces and won a quick match. Oh, can't forget Nia Jackson, her 5-star match. Yeah, nothing to that either. I mean, they really did not do much with Joe tonight. They just had him come out there and take out Zayn to, I guess, set up their match. And next week, Seth Rollins returns. So next week's Raw is shaping up to be pretty big with Goldberg and Seth Rollins being there. Todd says, hi from Chicago. How's it going, Todd? You're watching pretty late. I mean, it's almost 11 o'clock here on the West Coast. Thank you guys for tuning in, by the way, live for this video. Let's talk about The Rock now. Rock came out and they were going to shoot the final sequence for the Paige movie where it's Paige versus AJ Lee. Now, The Rock was anticipating the fans chanting for CM Punk, which they did. This was a smart crowd after all. They were very much into chanting CM Punk. They did chant CM Punk when Stephanie first came out for that interview segment with Bayley. But The Rock, he played up on the CM Punk chants, and then he said he was going to call CM Punk. It went to voicemail, but The Rock left a voicemail. I did post the video on NoDQ's Twitter page, and the crowd was going crazy chanting CM Punk. This was so bizarre. I mean, there's nothing else I could compare it to anything that I've seen at a WWE event. It was just very weird. Tommy says, why didn't he call Benoit? Well, the fans did not chant Benoit for starters, but because of AJ Lee and her name being mentioned, I mean, that's the whole setup for the fans chanting for CM Punk. So Rock left the voicemail, and then apparently CM Punk tried to call The Rock back. Basically what The Rock was doing was he was trying to get the fans to do different types of reactions, you know, cheer really loud, do a medium level cheer, boo, all sorts of different types of reactions so they could edit it into the final thing that they have with this AJ Lee versus Paige match. So basically you had actresses coming out, you had the actress that plays Paige doing a match with the AJ Lee woman, I'm not sure her name, but they had their match, and basically it wasn't really a match. I mean, they would act like they were punching each other, they would do a few things, but whenever there was supposed to be a big bump, they would just lie down on the ground and not do the big spot. And the crowd was just laughing at this. The crowd started doing all these weird chants, and they actually did a holy shit chant at one point when they're just laying down on the ground. And they started like a movie magic sort of chant. So it was pretty funny. It was really surreal. That's the best way I could describe this. And then after they did the first match, the actress that plays Paige cut a promo, and then The Rock came back and said they were going to do the match over again, but this time with Tessa Blanchard, who was going to be the stunt double. And Tessa Blanchard came out in the Paige gear, and they did the second match, and they did some spots. And basically what they're going to do is they're going to edit the two matches together, and obviously the bumps will be taken by Tessa Blanchard and not the actress that's playing Paige. And I'm sure WWE is going to edit in all the crowd sounds that they filmed for the segment before with The Rock. And when it's all said and done, it'll look very crisp. And yeah, but watching it live, I mean, the crowd was, they were doing all sorts of weird chants, and they were doing "You Deserve It," after this sequence with these two actresses basically just laying down on the ground, and then the Paige actress won the title, and the crowd chanted "You Deserve It." Craig Jones, is Blessing going to be in the movie? I was holding up the Gilberto sign. I had Gilberto as a WWE fanboy. And then I also had the Blessing sign. I wasn't holding that up during the Paige stuff, but during the show I did hold up the Blessing sign. Blessing is from NoDQforums.com. He is a troll, apparently. Oh, Brian says CM Punk did call back. That's what I believe. Did CM Punk tweet about it at all? I mean, I haven't seen his Twitter. I'm blocked, for starters. But did Punk say anything? Leave a comment. Looking at the comments here. Why did they not show The Rock on TV? Rock was there to promote and do the whole page stuff. He wasn't there to promote anything for WWE. But yeah, it was very entertaining, everything with The Rock. Robert says, I saw the Gilberto sign. I had a whole bunch of signs. I had a Las Vegas Link sign. I just made a bunch of weird references to NoDQ forums and the NoDQ forums members. Punk did tweet a couple of references to the call, according to Scott. Yeah, The Rock thanked the fans. CM Punk thanked the fans at Staples Center. Well, that's cool. DDP in the Hall of Fame. I mean, that was awesome to see the video package. I also like the George Steele video package. Of course, WWE always does a great job with that stuff. Punk said, thank you, Los Angeles. Yeah, I mean, people were chanting for Punk like crazy. He thanked the Staples Center. It was good to hear from them. Didn't mention The Rock. Huh, well, that's interesting. So, yeah, it was quite the night. Yeah, got all the comments here. CM Punk return confirmed. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. To me, it was really weird hearing AJ Lee's music and then somebody else other than AJ Lee coming out. I thought that was really weird. How come WWE didn't do a Nicole Bass tribute package? I think we all know the reason why WWE didn't do that, but, you know, I'm not really surprised that there was no mention of Nicole Bass. They did have a graphic for Ivan Koloff at one point during the show. Somebody asked about Foley being written off TV. There was that backstage segment, and Stephanie said, hopefully there's no accident. Hopefully you don't have an accident, Mick. So that seems to be teasing that something might happen to Mick Foley. Kyle, I wish I could have been there, but just had a levee break once again where I live. Sorry to hear that, and anybody who's having issues, you know, I hope for the best. Really, really tough situation for a lot of people. You know, I'm surprised that the rain was just so heavy here in Southern California. I thought I was escaping Portland and getting away from the rain, and then when I show up in LA, we get almost record rainfall, like the highest amount of rain in almost a decade. And you know, I saw something on the news with a sinkhole and then a freeway being flooded. I mean, crazy stuff, but fortunately the weather was okay today and there weren't any issues with Raw. No, it's not snowing in Portland anymore, thankfully for that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else from Raw, anything noteworthy. I did mention that the Delete Roman sign was confiscated. Also, there was a sign, Where's Hogan? And I'm pretty sure that got on TV, but that was also confiscated. It took a while. It was actually held up for quite some time, and then finally security came over and confiscated it. So I'm not sure what that means. You know, I would think that if WWE was definitely not bringing back Hogan, that would have been confiscated right away. But the fact that it was confiscated, that's a little interesting, unless they felt it was too much of a distraction, which, you know, it was right there at ringside. Maybe they thought it was too distracting. And the Delete Roman sign, I think, because of the fact that it was enticing fans to chant delete, I think that's a factor why it was confiscated. And also just being a negative Roman sign. We know how WWE is about that. So that will pretty much wrap it up for my thoughts on the video. Nate, I thought the Steel tribute was awesome. Yeah, there were let's go Roman sucks chants. It was still mostly negative for Reigns, but there were still, you know, a lot of women and kids cheering for Roman, but a lot of you know, guys in their late 20s or early 30s, my age range, at this show, and you know, they were very vocal. So it was an interesting night for sure. I will definitely have pictures up soon, so stay tuned to my Facebook page and NoDQ's Facebook, facebook.com/NoDQ, DOTCOM, and of course, facebook.com/Aaron Rift. I'll have some pictures up, and stay tuned to NoDQ in a video. I have a flight first thing in the morning, so I'll be heading out in a couple hours. Not getting much sleep here, but got to get the video done. And then when I get back, I plan on doing no Q&A video. If you have any questions, you can use the hashtag on Twitter, Road to NoDQ1000. That will wrap it up for NoDQ&A Live. This is NoDQ Live, whatever you want to call it. Have a safe flight, says Zach. Thank you, Zach. Thank you guys for tuning in live, and I will see you guys next time.